Commander Jai-Ho Park stood at the massive window of the Earth Defense Force headquarters, watching the sunset. His hand touched the cold glass as he thought about tomorrow's meeting. After 20 years of service, nothing in his training had prepared him for representing Earth before an alien council. The alien ships had arrived 3 months ago. They came in peace, they said, offering Earth a chance to join something called the Galactic Alliance. At first, people panicked, but the aliens were patient. They waited, broadcasting their message in all Earth languages, until the world's leaders agreed to talk. Now, Jai-Ho had to show these advanced aliens what Earth could offer. He looked at his reflection in the window, adjusting his dark blue uniform. At 45, his black hair showed touches of gray at the temples, but his eyes remained sharp and focused. "Commander Park," a soft voice called from behind him. "The test results are ready." He turned to see Hannah Kim, one of Earth's brightest young scientists. At 28, she had already revolutionized Earth's electromagnetic weapon systems. Her simple white lab coat contrasted with the complex holographic tablet she carried. "Thank you, Hannah," Jai-Ho said, taking the tablet. "What do you think about tomorrow?" Hannah pushed her glasses up her nose, a habit she had when thinking deeply. "Our technology works, Commander. It may not be as fancy as theirs, but it's reliable. We shouldn't let them look down on us." Jai-Ho smiled. Hannah always spoke her mind, a quality he respected. "Let's hope the Council agrees with you." The next morning, they stood in the great chamber of the Galactic Council's ship. The room was enormous, with ceilings so high it disappeared into darkness. 50 alien representatives sat in a semicircle above them, looking down at the Earth delegation. Some looked almost human, others were completely different. Some had scales, others had multiple eyes or arms. Council head Taiwan Lee sat in the center. Despite his Korean name, he wasn't human. His species had chosen to use Earth names to make communication easier. His silver skin gleamed under the chamber's lights, and his 4 eyes blinked in different patterns as he spoke. "Commander Park," Taiwan's voice echoed through the chamber. "Show us Earth's defensive capabilities." Jai-Ho stepped forward, his boots making soft sounds on the polished floor. He activated the holographic display Hannah had prepared. Images of Earth's best weapons appeared in the air: electromagnetic pulse cannons, rail guns, missile defense systems, and their most advanced ships. "Our electromagnetic weapons can disable enemy electronics without destroying the ships," Jai-Ho explained. "Our rail guns use magnetic fields to shoot metal projectiles at very high speeds. These weapons are reliable and—" Laughter interrupted him. Not just 1 or 2 voices, but many of the council members were laughing. Jai-Ho felt his face grow hot, but he kept his expression neutral. "Projectile weapons," Taiwan said, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "Electromagnetic pulses. Commander Park, these are children's toys compared to our quantum-based weapons. You're still using physical ammunition." Hannah stepped forward without being invited. "Our weapons may seem simple to you, but they're effective. We've developed new ways to—" "Scientist Kim," Taiwan cut her off. "Your enthusiasm is noted, but unnecessary. We've seen enough." The council members talked among themselves, their various languages creating a strange mix of sounds. Jai-Ho stood straight, hands behind his back, waiting. Hannah stood beside him, her hands clenched into fists. Finally, Taiwan raised his hand for silence. "The Council has decided. Earth is too primitive to join the Galactic Alliance as a full member. However, we offer you protectorate status. We will defend your world and guide your development until you reach an acceptable level of advancement." "Protectorate," Hannah said loudly. "But our technology—" "The Council's decision is final," Taiwan said firmly. "You should be grateful. Many worlds would thank us for such protection." Jai-Ho put a hand on Hannah's shoulder, stopping her from saying more. He could feel her trembling with anger, but they couldn't risk making things worse. Back on Earth, in Jai-Ho's office, Hannah paced back and forth. "They're wrong, Commander. Our weapons may not use quantum technology, but they're reliable. We've spent years perfecting them. Jai-Ho sat at his desk, looking at the Council's official document. I know, Hana. But for now, we have to accept their decision. Accept being treated like children. Hana stopped pacing. They didn't even let me explain the improvements we've made to the EMP systems. Sometimes, Jai-Ho said carefully, being underestimated can be an advantage. Hana looked at him sharply. What do you mean? Keep working on your projects. Hana, keep improving our primitive weapons. Something tells me we might need them someday. You think something's coming? Hana asked, sitting down across from him. Jai-Ho looked out his window at the alien ships hovering over the city. Their smooth, advanced designs made Earth's best ships look like ancient sailing vessels in comparison. The galaxy is a big place, Hana, and in my experience, when someone offers protection you didn't ask for, trouble usually follows. That night, as Earth's citizens watched the alien ships gliding through their skies, no one knew that Jai-Ho's words would prove true sooner than anyone expected. The aliens' quantum technology might be advanced, but sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones. Earth would get its chance to prove that, and sooner than anyone thought possible. In his apartment, Jai-Ho couldn't sleep. He stood on his balcony, watching the alien ship's lights reflect off the city's buildings. 20 years ago, he'd joined the Earth Defense Force to protect his planet. Now he wondered if he'd failed at that job. His phone buzzed. A message from Hana. Commander, I'm staying at the lab tonight. There's something about their quantum weapons I want to study. Something doesn't add up. He smiled slightly. Hana never gave up easily. Maybe that was exactly what Earth needed right now. People who wouldn't accept being called primitive, people who would keep pushing forward. In her lab, Hana worked through the night, analyzing the data they'd collected from the alien ships. Their quantum technology was impressive, yes, but it all followed the same basic patterns. Every ship, every weapon, used the same quantum frequencies. It was efficient, standardized. And maybe, just maybe, that would turn out to be a weakness. The next morning, as Jai-Ho prepared for another day of dealing with their new protectors, he had no way of knowing that Hana's late-night observation would soon prove to be the key to saving not just Earth, but the entire Galactic Alliance. For now, though, Earth would wait, work, and watch. Sometimes being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all. And Earth had just been very, very underestimated. 3 months after Earth became a protectorate, Hana Kim sat in her laboratory, surrounded by screens showing data from the Galactic Alliance's quantum technology. She hadn't stopped working since their first meeting with the Council. Something about their standardized quantum systems bothered her, but she couldn't figure out what. Her computer beeped with an urgent message. Opening it, she saw a live news feed from one of the Alliance worlds. The peaceful trading planet was under attack. But what caught her attention wasn't the attack itself. It was how their defenses were failing. Commander Park needs to see this, she said to herself, quickly saving the data. In his office, Jai-Ho Park was reviewing reports when Hana burst in. Her lab coat was wrinkled, and her hair was messy from running her fingers through it while working. Signs she'd made a breakthrough. Commander, look at this. She connected her tablet to his main screen. This attack happened 2 hours ago. Watch their quantum shields. Jai-Ho leaned forward, watching as the Alliance's most advanced defensive systems simply stopped working. The attacking ships weren't even firing weapons. The quantum shields just failed. How is this possible? He asked, his eyes fixed on the screen. That's what I've been trying to figure out, Hana said, pulling up more data. All Alliance weapons and defenses use the same quantum frequency patterns. It's like they all speak the same language. And now someone has found a way to silence that language, Jai-Ho finished. The office door opened, and Sung-Min Choi, Earth's head weapons specialist, walked in. His usually calm face showed worry. Commander, we're getting reports from all over the Alliance. Defense systems are failing everywhere. Jai-Ho stood up. How many planets? 12 so far, Sung-min replied. The attacks follow the same pattern. The quantum systems just stop working. Hana was already typing on her tablet. The enemy must have found a way to create quantum interference. It's like they're broadcasting static on all quantum frequencies. Can the Alliance fix it? Jai-Ho asked. Not quickly, Hana said. They'd have to rebuild their entire defense network with new frequencies. That could take years. Suddenly, all their screens lit up with an emergency broadcast. Council head Ta-Won's silver face appeared, looking concerned. This is an emergency message to all Alliance worlds, he said. Unknown forces are disabling our defense systems. We advise all ships to power down quantum systems immediately to prevent complete failure. We are. The message cut off. What happened? Sung-min asked. Hana checked her readings. The Council head's flagship just lost all power. Their quantum systems must have failed. Jai-Ho walked to his window, looking at the alien ships above the city. They were starting to drop from their perfect formations as their quantum systems failed. Hana, he said, our electromagnetic weapons and railguns don't use quantum technology, do they? No, she replied. That's why the Council called them primitive, remember? A small smile appeared on Jai-Ho's face. Maybe it's time to show them what primitive technology can do. He turned to Sung-min. How quickly can we prepare our defense systems? The EMP cannons and railguns are always ready, Sung-min said, but they're designed for use on Earth, not in space. Then we'll modify them, Jai-Ho said. Hana, can you help Sung-min adapt our weapons for space combat? Hana was already drawing designs on her tablet. The principles are the same. We'll need to adjust for the vacuum of space, but it's possible. Give us 48 hours. You have 24, Jai-Ho said. The way those attacks are spreading, that's all the time we have. As Hana and Sung-min rushed to their work, Jai-Ho contacted the Council's emergency frequency. To his surprise, Ta-Won answered personally. Commander Park, the Council head said, his silver face looking tired. This is not a good time. I can see that, Jai-Ho replied calmly. We might be able to help. Ta-Won's 4 eyes blinked in different patterns. Help? How could Earth help? Your technology is. He paused. Primitive. Jai-Ho finished for him. Yes, you mentioned that. But right now, our primitive technology is still working, while your advanced systems are failing. There was a long silence. Jai-Ho could see the conflict on Ta-Won's face, pride fighting with desperation. What do you propose? Ta-Won finally asked. Let us modify our weapons for space combat. We can protect your ships while you work on fixing your quantum systems. You want to defend Alliance worlds with electromagnetic pulses and metal projectiles? Ta-Won asked, disbelief clear in his voice. Unless you have a better option, Jai-Ho replied. Another long silence. Above the city, more alien ships were dropping out of formation. You have permission to proceed, Ta-Won said finally. But Commander Park, yes. If this works, the Alliance will owe Earth a debt of gratitude. Jai-Ho nodded. We'll discuss that after we solve the current problem. In the laboratory, Hana and Sung-min worked without stopping. They modified the electromagnetic pulse generators to work in space, adjusted the rail guns to account for zero gravity, and prepared Earth's missiles for space combat. The enemy won't expect this, Hana said as she calibrated an EMP cannon. They've probably focused all their attention on disrupting quantum technology. They won't be ready for simple electrical and kinetic weapons. Sung-min nodded, checking the railgun's magnetic coils. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Above them, more Alliance ships were failing. The enemy was getting closer. But this time, Earth wasn't defenseless. This time, Earth had something the enemy hadn't counted on. Technology so basic it was beyond their interference. As the first day of work ended, Jai-Ho stood in the laboratory, watching his team prepare Earth's defenses. They had less than 12 hours left. But looking at Hannah's determined face as she worked, at Sung Min's careful adjustments to their weapons, he felt something he hadn't felt since the aliens first arrived. Hope. The next day would bring either Earth's greatest victory or its worst defeat. But at least they would face it with weapons they understood, weapons they had built themselves. Sometimes, being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all. And Earth was about to prove just how dangerous primitive technology could be. The sun was rising over Earth's defense headquarters when Hannah Kim finished the final adjustments to the electromagnetic pulse cannon. She had worked through the night with Sung Min, modifying Earth's weapons for space combat. Her eyes were tired, but there was no time to rest. The EMP modifications are complete, she reported to Commander Jai-Ho Park, who stood nearby reviewing battle plans. We've adjusted the pulse frequency to work in space. It won't be as powerful as in atmosphere, but it should still disable enemy ships. Sung Min walked in, carrying his final report on the railguns. The magnetic acceleration systems are ready, Commander. We've modified them to work in zero gravity. Each shot will move faster in space than in atmosphere. Jai-Ho nodded, looking at the screens showing Alliance ships gathering above Earth. Many of them were running on emergency power, their quantum systems shut down to prevent complete failure. They looked like wounded birds, floating helplessly in space. How many weapons do we have ready? Jai-Ho asked. 20 EMP cannons, 15 railguns, and 30 missile launchers, Sung Min replied. All modified for space combat. We've installed them on our largest ships. It's not many, Hannah said quietly. It will have to be enough, Jai-Ho responded. The enemy fleet is approaching the outer planets. We don't have time to make more. The command center's main screen lit up with an incoming message. Council head Ta-Won's silver face appeared, looking more worried than ever. Commander Park, he said, the enemy fleet has disabled the defenses of 3 more Alliance worlds. They're moving faster than we expected. Are your weapons ready? Jai-Ho stood straight, hands behind his back. Yes, Council head. We can launch within the hour. Then you have command of the defense fleet, Ta-Won said. Our ships will follow your lead, though most can only run life support systems now. Understood, Jai-Ho replied. We'll protect them. After the message ended, Jai-Ho turned to his team. Hannah, you'll coordinate the technical aspects from here. Sung Min, you'll command the railgun crews. I'll lead the fleet. Commander, Hannah said, stepping forward. I should be on your ship, if the weapons need adjustments during battle. Jai-Ho shook his head. You're more valuable here. You can monitor all the weapons at once and direct repairs if needed. An alarm sounded through the building. Red lights flashed on all screens. The enemy fleet had entered the solar system. Everyone to your stations, Jai-Ho ordered. This is what we've prepared for. In the launch bay, Earth's ships were ready. They looked simple compared to the Alliance vessels. No smooth quantum drives or elegant designs. They were practical, sturdy, built to carry traditional weapons into space. Each one had been modified in the past 24 hours, their weapons adjusted to work in the vacuum of space. Jai-Ho boarded his command ship, taking his place on the bridge. Through the view screen, he could see the Alliance ships forming up around Earth's vessels, trusting their safety to the very technology they had dismissed as primitive. All ships report ready, his communications officer announced. Hannah, are you receiving weapons data? Jai-Ho asked through the command link. Yes, Commander. Her voice came back clear. All weapons show green status, ready to begin power-up sequence on your command. Jai-Ho took a deep breath. All ships advance to defensive positions. Power up weapons, but do not fire until my command. The fleet moved forward, Earth's ships leading the way. In the distance, enemy vessels appeared on their sensors. Dark shapes moving against the stars, their quantum interference field spreading ahead of them like an invisible wave. Enemy ships entering weapons range in 5 minutes, Sung Min reported from his position with the rail gun crews. Hana, what's the status of their interference field? Jai-ho asked. Still focused on quantum frequencies, she replied. Our systems are unaffected. They don't seem to notice that we're using different technology. The enemy ships grew larger on the view screen. They were beautiful in a dangerous way, their black hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. As they approached, Alliance ships in their path began losing power, their quantum systems failing. Enemy ships in range, Sung Min announced. Jai-ho watched as the first enemy vessels entered their weapon range. This was the moment that would prove whether Earth's primitive technology could save the day, or if they had made a terrible mistake. All ships, he commanded, fire EMPs on my mark. The enemy fleet continued forward, seemingly unworried about the Earth ships in their path. Why should they worry? Their quantum interference had disabled every defense they'd encountered so far. Fire. 20 electromagnetic pulses launched from Earth's ships, spreading out through space. The enemy ships didn't even try to dodge. They probably didn't recognize the danger until it was too late. The pulses hit. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the first enemy ship's lights flickered and died, then another and another. Their sophisticated systems, designed to resist quantum attacks, had no defense against simple electromagnetic pulses. Direct hits. Sung Min reported. Enemy ships losing power. Rail guns, target their engines. Jai-ho ordered. Fire when ready. The rail guns launched their projectiles, accelerated to incredible speeds by magnetic fields. In the vacuum of space, there was no air resistance to slow them down. They struck the powerless enemy ships with devastating force, punching through their advanced armor. Multiple enemy ships disabled. Hana reported from Earth. Their interference field is weakening. Alliance ships in the area are regaining power. Jai-ho watched as the enemy fleet's perfect formation broke apart. They had never expected to face weapons so simple, so basic that their advanced defenses couldn't stop them. Launch missiles, he ordered. Target their command ships. Earth's missiles streaked through space, their simple rocket engines pushing them forward. The enemy's remaining ships tried to evade, but without their quantum systems, they were slow and clumsy. Enemy fleet is retreating, Sung Min announced. They're abandoning their disabled ships. Cheers erupted across the command frequencies. Alliance ships were powering up again as the interference field collapsed. Earth's primitive weapons had done what the most advanced quantum technology couldn't. They had stopped the enemy attack. In the command center on Earth, Hana watched the sensor readings with tears in her eyes. They had done it. Their simple, reliable technology had saved not just Earth, but the entire Alliance. Hana. Jai-ho's voice came through her headset. Begin power down sequence for the weapons. We need to save energy for any counterattacks. She smiled, remembering how the Council had laughed at these same weapons 3 months ago. Yes, Commander. Beginning power down now. As the Earth fleet regrouped, protecting the Alliance ships as they restored their quantum systems, Jai-ho looked at his view screen. The enemy fleet was running, leaving their disabled ships behind. Sometimes, he thought, the simplest solution was the best one. And Earth had just proven that being underestimated could be the greatest advantage of all. 1 week after Earth's weapons turned back the enemy fleet, Commander Jai-ho Park stood once again in the great chamber of the Galactic Council. This time, no one was laughing at Earth's technology. Council head Ta-1 sat in his central position, his silver skin reflecting the chamber's lights. But his posture was different now. He sat forward, listening carefully as Jai-ho spoke. The enemy ships we captured have taught us much, Jai-ho explained. They expected to face only quantum-based weapons. They never prepared for simple electromagnetic pulses or physical projectiles. Hana Kim stood beside him, presenting data from their examination of the captured ships. Her voice was confident now, and no one interrupted her. The enemy's quantum interference technology was advanced, she said, but it was also narrow in focus. They forgot that there are many ways to fight. Sometimes the old ways are still useful. Some Min Choi, standing at a control panel, displayed images of Earth's modified weapons. We've improved our designs further. The electromagnetic pulse cannons now have double their original range. The rail guns can fire faster in space than before. The council members watched silently. Many of them had seen Earth's weapons in action, protecting their ships when their own advanced technology had failed. What do you suggest we do with this knowledge? Taiwan asked, his 4 eyes focused on Jaiho. We recommend a combined defense system, Jaiho replied. Keep your quantum weapons, but add our primitive technology as a backup. No defense should rely on just one type of weapon. Taiwan stood, his tall figure commanding attention. 3 months ago, we called Earth's technology primitive. We were wrong. Simple does not mean primitive. Reliable does not mean outdated. He walked down from his high seat, something no council head had ever done before. He stopped in front of Jaiho and extended his hand in the Earth gesture of greeting. The Alliance officially recognizes Earth as a full member, he announced. Furthermore, we request Earth's help in adding your defensive technology to our ships. Hana smiled, remembering how they had dismissed her attempts to explain these same weapons 3 months ago. Some men stood straighter, proud of how their simple but effective weapons had saved so many lives. We would be honored to help, Jaiho said, shaking Taiwan's hand. Over the next few months, Earth's defense technology spread throughout the Alliance. Hana traveled to different worlds, teaching their engineers how to build and maintain electromagnetic weapons. Some men trained Alliance crews in using rail guns and missile systems. In his office back on Earth, Jaiho received regular updates about their progress. Alliance ships now carried both quantum weapons and Earth's technology. Training exercises showed that the combination made them stronger than either technology alone. Commander, Hana said one evening, entering his office with a tablet. Look at these readings from the outer defense stations. Jaiho studied the data. The enemy fleet had been detected near several other star systems, but they never attacked. Their quantum interference weapon was useless against worlds protected by Earth's technology. They won't come back, he said confidently. Not while we're ready for them. Hana sat down, looking out at the city where Alliance ships now landed freely, their crews coming to learn from Earth's engineers. Do you remember what you said when they first called us primitive? She asked. That being underestimated can be an advantage. Jaiho smiled. Yes, I remember. You were right, she said. But I don't think anyone will underestimate Earth again. In the following years, Earth's influence in the Alliance grew. The combination of Earth's reliable, simple technology with the Alliance's advanced quantum systems created the strongest defense network in known space. Other worlds began developing their own primitive weapons as backups, learning from Earth's example. Taiwan visited Earth regularly, consulting with Jaiho about defense strategies. During one visit, standing in the same office where Jaiho had first suggested using Earth's weapons, he made an observation. You know, Commander, he said, his silver face thoughtful, when we first met your people, we thought we were coming to teach you. Instead, you taught us something valuable. What's that? Jaiho asked. That progress isn't always about making things more complex. Sometimes the simple solution is the best one. Sometimes the old ways still have value. Jaiho looked out his window at the city, where Earth ships now flew alongside Alliance vessels. Their simple designs contrasted with the Alliance's sleek ships, but they flew together, protecting each other. The future isn't about choosing between old and new technology, he said. It's about using every tool we have wisely. In her laboratory, Hana continued improving Earth's weapons, but now she worked with engineers from across the Alliance. They combined ideas from different worlds, creating defense systems that were both advanced and reliable. Sun Min's weapons training program became famous throughout the Alliance. Earth-style backup systems became standard on all Alliance ships. No one called them primitive anymore. They were simply recognized as effective. The enemy fleet never returned to Alliance space. Perhaps they realized that their quantum interference weapon was no longer enough to ensure victory. Perhaps they learned that underestimating primitive technology was a dangerous mistake. As Jai-Ho watched Earth take its place as a respected member of the Alliance, he thought about how much had changed in just a few months. They had turned potential defeat into victory, not through advanced technology, but through simple, reliable weapons and the courage to use them. Earth had proved that being different wasn't a weakness, it was a strength. Their primitive technology had saved the day, and in doing so, had changed the galaxy's understanding of what progress really meant. Sometimes, the simplest solutions were the best ones, and Earth would never let anyone forget that lesson again.